bit about, if you want to share on yours, and we can share there. So we're live. Paige White with ReScore. How are you, my dearest?
Oh my goodness, I am fantastic, and it is so good to see your shiny face and your smile after all these months of not being able to see everybody. So it is a true blessing.
I know, man. It is so good. We've talked about doing something like this for a while too, so it's good. I'm glad we're finally able to do it. And you know, with me, Paige, it's always about like a day or two away from everything. So I appreciate you being so accommodating.
No worries whatsoever. Hey, I want to share this, Steve. I see it right here. I want to make sure I'm sharing this. How do I share it on Facebook?
Yeah, so you probably want to. It might be easier to do on your phone. To go to your app on the phone, and it's probably easier to share there because it's always a little difficult and clunky, if you will, to share on the computer for me at least. So you might want to do it from your phone. While you're doing that, I'll do a little introduction and get everyone familiar with what we're going to do today, and then I'll turn it over to you, and then I'll do my sharing. How about that?
Absolutely.
Cool. Well, welcome everyone, and we have a very special guest, Paige White, today, that's going to talk about credit. And I always tell people that I have known this person for a while personally, and experienced this person as well. Oh, you have me on. You might have me on. Okay, you got me. You must have pulled me up on your phone.
Yeah.
But I've experienced the greatness of Paige White, and going back many years, and continued to sing her high praises. So Paige White is with ReScore, and you can see I've got their website up, and I'll also pull your Facebook page up as well, Paige, and show everyone that as well. But Paige White is our credit specialist, our credit expert, our credit goddess, if you will, and I say that from experience. When I got into the mortgage business, Paige, I needed to have better credit in order to get licensed from states. And I reached out to a service and, ran into you. And man, now I've got better credit. I got all the licenses and no issues when I'm trying to get licensed in the state. And more importantly, I think, is I got significant amount of education on credit. That's probably worth all of those things and then some in a basket. So I'm really grateful for you personally for helping me get my credit together and educate me, and then being a partner with me along all these years with helping other people get their credit ready to do whatever it is that they want to do with their credit, right? So I'm a home loan guy, you're a credit person, but people need credit for a number of other things. And so it's not about home loans, it's about credit and helping people put themselves in better positions. And so I'm extremely grateful for you, and wanted to thank you publicly for all you have done to help me in my career. And it all started with you helping me with my credit. So welcome, and thank you so much. I love you to death. You've been so helpful for me. So I had to say that, and say that many times.
I don't know how you, whew. That is so nice and so kind. And, I'm so fond of you as well. And, we're just, I think we're kind of two peas in the pod in the way we kind of think about life and everything. And
yeah.
And it's so important that you share your story about your experience with your credit, because one of the kind of myths, if you will, or the way a lot of people think is, why don't they just pay their bills? They have bad credit. If they pay their bills, they wouldn't have bad credit. Yeah, you're right. I mean, that's true. But we're all really, most of us are all pretty close to the edge of what that looks like with bad credit. And you know my story, and I'll just kind of give a quick synopsis of that. But, in 2008 and 9, when everything crashed and went downhill, I personally lost my house and cars, and, we just decided to walk away from it. The year after that, my mom died. 7 months after that, my dad died. My stepdad, for all of you that know my story with my dad living with me now. And then the year after that, my daughter was in the hospital for 6 weeks. She has Crohn's disease. So to just say, hey, somebody pay their bills, I mean, that sounds all great until you have life happen to you, death, or a job loss, a transfer, your kid's sick, your wife's sick, your husband's sick. It's a a multitude of things that could happen in your life. And it's not just as easy as just paying your bills. So what we try to do, and why, we love what we do, is we not only try to help people with their credit by getting negative items removed, but we love the education aspect. And I've been doing that with you for a long time with different venues. But if we can teach people what to do and how to get better as a society and as a nation, then if I can teach you something, not just you as a lender, but any of my clients, then you share it with your kids and your grandkids. And a good example of that is my daughter. I mean, she's 26 years old and she has an 850 credit score. She's got, perfect. She has her student loans, a car loan, a couple credit cards. And I think she's scared of me anyway. If she got poor credit, it would be really bad. But a lot of times, another thing with credit is that a lot of people get medical collections. 80% of medical billing actually has errors on it. So you could have a perfect credit score, get your, credit pulled by a lender, and you might have a $50 medical collection on there, and it could drop your score 100 points. Well, does that mean you didn't pay your bills? No, it just means there might have been an error, or something slipped through the cracks, because that can happen. So we love that aspect of education. So thanks for sharing your story.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I can talk about credit forever, that.
Oh, absolutely. And when I refer people to you, I start off by telling them that, like, listen, a lot of people have referral partners, that they just have a good relationship with over time and they trust, right? But then there's also the aspect of, like, I've experienced this person, like I've experienced what they do, and they've taken my score from a 500 to a 700. And so that to me is so much more of a powerful testimony, because I'm not just sending people to someone that I trust and I know. I'm sending to someone that I know knows what they're doing, because it's worked on me. You know what I mean? It's worked on me. And to me, that's like you said, that's even more powerful. Like, because a lot of people just need to know, like, will this work? You know what I mean? Like, will it work? And it's like, well, yeah, I can tell you it's going to work, because I'm a testimony. I'm a person that's actually. And so no, absolutely. It's good stuff. And I'll continue to do that. I mean, that's just the way that it works. People need to know that there is a solution. There's an opportunity to improve your credit. And it's this mythical deal, right? Because I think we are all, like, we all went to school. Some of us went to college. Not one of those stops did I get taught credit.
No, the thing with that, Steve, is that that's on purpose. Big banks, I always say, they own the world. And if you don't think so, then you got your head stuck in the sand, because they do. And so they're never going to go out of their way to make sure that we are educated as a society and that we know what to do, because the higher the interest rates, the more money they make. The better your credit scores are, the lower the interest rates, the less they make. So we got to keep people down. That's how it works. So that's why the education part is important.
Yeah, good point. That's a good point. And I think most people don't understand that, that bad credit leads to high risk, and high risk means I can charge you a lot more for the same service that somebody else might be getting for a lot less. You know what I mean? And I know that. So Paige, tell us a little bit about some of the myths associated with credit, because the first thing you just said is a key one. Like, oh, well, I pay my bills on time. Okay. That's like, but there's so much more behind it. So why don't you start off by talking a little bit about those common myths that exist within the credit world?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, one of them is how you pay your credit cards. And so a lot of times there's ways to trick the system, and we're graded on like an overall pie chart. There's percentages that are based on certain things for your credit card balances, how you pay your bills, you pay them on time, that type of stuff. So for instance, a lot of times people use their cards for points, right? So you want to go to the Southwest, you put all of your bills on your credit cards because you want to get your points up for airlines. This is great, no problem with that overall. But for like when somebody's applying for a loan, it's really important that they always keep their credit card balances really low at all times. So it's kind of like a grading chart. So if you were in school, right, you got to, if you have a, you your percentage is this much. If you have a B, your percentage of your credit cards is this much. So the way we like to say it is anytime you have a credit card balance that's 0 to 30%, that's positive and it's going to give you points. Around a 30 to 50% is not going to hurt you or help you a whole lot. I mean, obviously it's a good card, so that's a benefit. Anything over that 50% will actually drop your score, because you have to remember it's an algorithm, right? It doesn't know you or anything about you, it's just tracking you. So if you have that high limit, what the algorithm is saying, oh my gosh, this person's a risk, drop their score because we don't want them to have any more credit. So there you are. So then another thing with that aspect is anything over the limit is actually an atomic bomb. They will plummet your score, because what basically they're saying to them is that you are going to default at any time, right? So we don't want that to happen. The other thing is you can trick the system with that. So let me preface that. If you're trying to get a loan, let's always keep it below 30% is my go-to. But if you aren't looking to get a home loan or anything like that, you can trick the system, find out what day your credit card, for example, reports. So if they report on the 10th of every month, pay it by the 5th. So that every single time they report to the credit bureau, they're going to have the lower balance, and that's kind of how you can trick it. And then a late payment, as you can see on this slide, can drop one late payment can drop your score as much as 100 points overnight. And then it's very hard to recover from. Now, late payments really only hurt you for about 2 years. And every single month they get older, they're going to hurt you less and less. And the reason why is your credit scores are an indicator of the future. So if you have a late payment, you are telling the algorithm that you are probably going to have more late payments. So the further you get away from that, the indicator is it was a bump in the road, it's going to get better, and then it just continues on and get better throughout. So that's kind of as far as credit card balances, but there's an overall pie chart. So 65% of your credit is based on how you pay your bills and your balances on your cards. So if you max them out every month and you don't pay on time, that's 65% of your score. So that's how impactful that is. You've got about
wait a minute. Say that again, because
65%. You have that pie chart. I don't know if you have a picture of that one.
I'm pulling it up.
Mm-hmm.
But go ahead. While I'm on this, because I got
it's just 65%. So there's 30 and 35. How you pay your bills? Are you paying on time? And your card balances. So you got to think, if you have 100% and 65% is that, I mean, that's a huge impact. And so you can't mess those things up. Then you've got your negative 10%. Well, I'm actually leave the negative 10% last.
Right.
You've got you have a balance of 15% of your scores is based on how many trade lines you have. So you want to have a nice, thick, healthy credit profile. And then you've got the negative aspect. The negative 10% is going to be inquiries. So this is something you and I talk about, right? A lot of times you'll have people call you and say, you pulled my credit, it dropped 50 points. No, it didn't. It definitely did not drop 50 points. I always say inquiries don't hurt you nearly as much as the internet would like for you to believe.
Right.
Do they affect you? Sure. But they only last for 2 years as well. They will drop off after that time frame. And it's based on your overall credit profile, the thickness of it. So if you have a nice, thick, healthy credit profile, you might have 10 inquiries and it's a tweak. If you have no credit established, then yeah, it is going to affect you more. But there's not an exact point to it. So I can't say it's going to hurt you this many points. It's more of a percentage. And then there's enough stuff that you can do to balance out the inquiries. So you can build that credit profile to kind of balance it out. Yeah, so you see the paying your bills on time, 35%, how much money you owe, 30%, types of debt, that's what I just said, having that nice thick credit profile. And then the new request is the 15%. So the other 10% is really important as well. That's the length of history. So I like my partner, Jana Fox, she always likes to say, keep your credit cards as your grandmother's, as old as your grandmother's grandmother. Basically, never close them out.
Yeah.
Because the longer your length of history is, the better points you're going to get. So if you, you know what, I've got these store cards, I'm tired of looking at those store cards. If you've had them for 10 years and you close them out, it's actually going to drop your score.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. So that's kind of that. My favorite myth that I always think is really important to tell somebody, I'm going to bring it up now because I don't know how long we're on this, is about paying your collections. And so normal people with common sense, Steve, think, you know what, I've got this $50 collection. I'm just going to pay it off. I'm sick of looking at it. I'm tired of it. I've got the money. I'm going to pay it off. Well, 9 times out of 10, when somebody pays their collections, it actually will drop your score.
Mm-hmm.
I know, crazy, crazy.
Why is that, Paige? Why is that?
Because when it comes to collections, the credit bureau's, the algorithm is not looking at a dollar amount. So the $0 collection is not hurting you less or more, if you will, than the $10,000 collection is not hurting you less or more. It's all about the age. So what happens is if you go have a 3-year-old $50 medical collection that you're decided to pay, instead of it being 3 years old and only going to last for 4 more years on your credit report, it'll actually re-age it to a $0 collection from the day to the day you pay it and stay on there another 7 years. So in the algorithm, it acts like it's a new collection. We had one, Steve, we had one time, one lady paid $20,000 worth of collections because she came into a bunch of money and dropped her score 200 points. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. She was obviously very distraught because she was gifted that money and then ended up punishing her. And it doesn't make any sense. I mean, we went to a thing called CreditCon recently, which is just a lot of really good educators from the credit world in the industry. And there was a guy from the CDIA up there, and he was talking about, you know, he was kind of offensive to us a little bit. He was talking about how, well, he was even saying if people owe it, they should pay it, and they shouldn't be able to get a loan if they owe this money. And so I threw out a bunch of stuff on my opinion on it. But I asked him, I said, you know, I get if somebody owes some money, they ideally need to pay it, right? But let's say you're in a position to where, you know, your spouse has cancer, and so they have to stop work and you stop working, and great, they go into remission, wonderful. A year later, you're back on track, but now they have $100,000 worth of medical collections on their credit report. Is it fair that they get punished forever for 7 more years because of that instance? And they're trying to pay it. Right. It's not like they're not trying to pay it. They're trying to pay it. Right. But they will actually lose if they do pay it. So the industry is not set up for success, and that's why we do the education. That's why we love it.
That's why we love it. That's why we got to do it. You're right. I mean, like you said, there's so many percent of errors that occur on credit reports relative to medical collections. What was it, 60%? What was the number?
Well, on credit reports in general, there's 79% of people have an error of some sort on their credit report.
Wow.
Well, and you and I talked about this too. It's errors that we see and errors that an average person sees. Those are different. And mm-hmm. What I mean by that is, let's say a lender is looking at a credit report and there is no date of last activity. Well, there has to be a date of last activity there because otherwise it's re-aging it every month. Or there's a collection and it says that there's a past due. Well, there's no past due from a collection. It's past due from the original creditor. Or a collection company has 120-day late. No, that's a violation. Yep. So we're looking for fair FCRA and FDCPA violations, and so we have attorneys that we work with. So we're not just a letter writing company. We're actually getting to the bottom of trying to find these errors and requiring that they report with accuracy. And a lot of times they just don't.
Mm-hmm. So So you're different. So talk a little bit about that, Paige. You just mentioned it, and I know it, and I catch it. But talk a little bit about the ReScore difference, because not every credit company is created equal, right? All of them have different niches, if you will, that they focus on and different ways of doing it. But talk a little about what I would call the ReScore difference, because I talk to a lot of people, pull a lot of credit reports. Oh, yeah, I'm working with such and so on and so forth. Okay, great. How's that going? Oh, well, I've been on there for a year. Okay, well, your scores are still not where they need to be. So let me get you over to someone who I trust. And then they go, well, why should I go there? And I have my spiel, but why don't you talk a little bit about the difference between what you do and your emphasis and why it's effective and successful for ReScore?
Yeah, absolutely. And that really does make a difference. And we like to refer to some companies as letter writing companies. And that's all they're pretty much doing is writing a letter, acting like they are you, and just sending letters over and over to the bureaus. Now, let me preface by stating there's nothing wrong with that. And I know a lot of really great people in this industry that do more of that type of practice, and they do have some success. So I'm not bashing those people in general. It just comes to a point where the client could have done that on their own. You can literally go online and get templates of letters to write. So that is one of the biggest changes or differences with what we do. So we also are writing letters to the credit bureaus because there's a certain process that you have to do when you're disputing the items. And that's what we're doing. We're disputing any type of, we need validation and we need errors corrected. So we're disputing that to start the open investigation. So that's the first process. But the other part that we do is we actually send out a power of attorney because we do work with a couple of attorneys here locally, but we also work with attorneys nationwide, which is really great. We've got these awesome partners with other people across the nation. And so we're sending out a power of attorney, very limited power of attorney. It doesn't let us, know about all your personal stuff. It just allows us to talk to your creditors. And we're requiring by law that they validate and prove that the debt is yours and report with accuracy. And then if they don't do these things, that's what allows us to get the attorneys involved if we need to. So remember talking about the FCRA violation or FDCPA. So we're trained, our team is trained to be looking at those things on a credit report as we do the updates and say, this is still not fixed or this is not fixed. So if we needed to get the attorneys involved, we can. So that's one of our biggest.
Internet.
Pardon?
Oh, our internet blinked just a little bit, Paige. Right off when you were saying about the letter gives us the ability with the attorneys, and that's kind of when we blinked out a little bit.
Yeah, just to be more aggressive and to the attorneys then we with the power of attorney require that these companies validate and prove that the debt is our clients, and report with accuracy. And if they don't, we can get the attorneys involved if needed to put pressure on these companies. And sometimes lawsuits come out of it. Now, that's never our first goal is a lawsuit because those could take years. But there are opportunities where even our clients can win money, even though the ultimate goal is to get it removed off of their credit report so that they can usually get a home loan or something like that. So, but that's what separates us out as far as our work is. Then we can be more successful in our overall percentage helping our clients. But the other thing, Steve, that that it makes it easy for you to refer to us is that we are a pay for deletion company, meaning we only charge our clients for the negative items that we get removed. So right from day one, that I'm going to try to remove as much as we can, as fast as we can. The more I get removed, the more we get paid. The faster we get it removed, the faster we get paid. So when you have companies that charge a monthly fee, again, there's lots of wonderful companies out there. They just don't have a lot of incentive to speed you up, right? So I may love you and fall in love with you as a client, but we can be friends, but I don't want you as a client very long. I want you, right? I want to get out everything I can. But we also, in our education, we try to hold people accountable. So what I mean by that is if I give you a list of things that I need you to do, open up a couple credit cards, get a credit builder loan, pay your credit cards down, or whatever that looks like. then I'm going to hold you accountable for that. So if I get, you have 10 items and I get 7 of them off, and you haven't done anything that I've said from day one, I'm going to circle back around and be like, hey, we're a team. Let's jump back on the plan and see what we need to do. But that's where the partnership with you as a lender comes in too, right? Because we're both on their team.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're both their cheerleader.
Yep. Absolutely.
Although we don't want to hold hands, we will bring you along.
That's right. That's right. We'll come alongside you and help you get there. And that's what they want. And quite frankly, I think that's what a lot of us need. I mean, you know what I mean? It's like I know, like when you were calling me, I was like, oh, she's either got good news or she's going to be checking on me to see if I did what I was supposed to do. So we need that. We need that accountability as well. And that's what makes the difference. I think that's what makes the difference. It's not a letter writing situation or campaign. It's a person, an individual who's going to be there with you to help you get through. And I think that's why you have the level of success that you have. For me, I mean, like it took care of me, which if you could fix me, I'm like Humpty Dumpty who fell off the wall. Like, I mean, like if you could put me back together, that's greater than Humpty Dumpty. But also so like now, like, it seems like every week there's someone popping in my email from ReScore saying, hey, you might check in with this person. Their scores have improved, and it's like, for me, like to refer someone over to you is kind of a set it and forget it. Like, because I don't have to worry about it. I'm going to get the communication from you guys saying, hey, this person's ready to have a call, and that's nice because it tells me that the progress is being made. And I'm not shocked to see that because I've experienced it, but I think that has to do with the fact that you guys have a very personal approach and you have a strategy, and it is about working together with the people to help them get there.
Well, and you're building your pipeline, right? I mean, that's the whole reason why most lenders are going to send us business. I'm going to be honest with you, Steve. I mean, I know some really amazing human being lenders that are like, I just don't deal with credit people. And, we're like, send them to us. Let us help them. Yeah, I just write them off. And I hate that. And that's their decision. But I love that you love your people enough and you get invested emotionally with your people that you want to help them. Now the people have to want to help themselves. Yeah. But so I know for you, it's more than just writing a loan and making a paycheck, even though that's why we go to work every day, right? I mean, at the end of the day, we still got to pay our bills. Right. But so you're helping people, but you're building your pipeline in addition. So great, right? You had amazing good year of all the refinances, and it was crazy for people out there, and that's awesome. But then what happens is when that goes away, right? You have to have your pipeline build up. So you're really great at that.
Yeah. Well, it's been that was like, to me, like just a secondary thing I didn't even anticipate. It was just about trying to help someone get their credit improved, and then all of a sudden stuff starts popping in. It's like where are these loans coming from? I was dealing with someone yesterday off of a person you guys sent back to us, and it was like, man, look at those scores. So it works, and I think it works because you guys understand the myths associated with credit. You understand the components of credit, and that to me is crucial. It's like understanding, and I'm so glad you brought that up. Understanding the components of what make up credit. Like people think they pay their bills on time and their credit's going to be good. So the greatest thing that happens to me when I have a conversation with someone, Paige, is this. They say, well, I'm going to work on my credit. I'll be back in touch. And I say, well, hold on. What are you going to do to work on your credit? And they say, I'm going to go pay my bills, pay off some collections, all those things you just mentioned. And I'm like, hold on. You're going to make your credit scores worse. You're not going to do anything with your credit scores. And they're like, well, why is that? And I'm like, because you don't know anything about credit. What you know about credit got you to where you are right now. So how are you going to walk away from this conversation and go work on your credit? You don't know anything about credit. So, and it's with love that I had that came to conversation. You know what I mean? But it's like, you can't work on anything you don't know. First of all, that's not your area of expertise. If you were a credit expert, you'd be doing credit. You are a painter. You are a car dealer. Whatever. You're a loan officer. You don't know anything about credit, so how can you work on something you don't know anything about? You need to get with someone who knows what they're doing. Mm-hmm. And after I had that conversation, they usually are a little bit more open to responding to your call. You know what I mean?
That's actually really funny. I mean, I kind of use that as an example sometimes. Is I could go on YouTube right now and learn how to change my oil, and it will probably take me 2 days to do it, but I can do it on my own.
Yes.
Same idea. There are things that individuals can do to help their credit, but they make bonehead moves like that because they don't know. And it's not their fault they don't know. They're not educated, or there's so much misinformation on the web. I mean, holy moly. I will tell you what, I have been in Clubhouse a little bit. I don't go on there a lot just because I'm pretty busy, blessed to be growing our business. But I will tell you, even on Clubhouse, some of the stuff that I hear scares me to death about what their people are teaching about credit, and they are so-called credit experts. It's frightening.
Yes.
You know, and that brings me to another thing, Steve, is here's another thing that obviously you deal with all the time, and talking about myths and misinformation is what we'll talk about, credit scores on Credit Karma. And right, they come to you, they say, I'm ready, sign me up for a loan. Credit Karma says I'm 670, I'm ready. Not 670, you might be a 570. I would say across the board, it's about a 40 point. Most credit monitoring sites are about 40 points higher than your FICO. Mm-hmm. Now, I've seen it both ways. I've seen your FICO being higher than a Vantage score, because that's what's on the monitoring side, a Vantage score. But I would say for as long as I've been in it, 40 points is on average. So if Credit Karma says you're a 670, you're more like a 630. If you will. So did I lose you, Steve? Well, it looks like
Nope, I'm still here. I'm giving you a little bit more of a screenshot.
Okay. I don't know how this technology stuff works. Yeah, you're asking a lot of me. So that's a big thing. And
you look better, Paige. You look better than I do. So I'm, hey, we gotta go with the ratings. But go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead. Sorry, but do talk about also when you go to finish their go through the FICOs, mm-hmm. and talk the difference between Vantage and FICO, and then go through the many FICOs are out there, because that's another thing that confuses.
Well, yeah, because right. So the first thing is the Vantage 3.0. That's what almost every credit monitoring site is going to have. That's its own thing. Also, to know when they give you suggestions on Credit Karma, please know that Credit Karma is owned by TransUnion, so they're still going to have their best interest at heart. But then there are, I think last time we figured it out, looked into it, there's 56 versions of FICO. Now, it doesn't mean there's versions 1 through 56. What that means is 8 and 9, version 8 and 9, that's mostly used for auto and credit cards. So there might be 10 versions of 8, 10 versions of 9. So that's what I mean by up to 56 versions. So what a home lender uses is versions 2, 4, and 5. So they use, each bureau uses different ones. So they've been around forever. They have been trying to change the algorithm with FICO and trying to sell lenders on a new algorithm for years and years and years. There was one that was years ago, Steve, you'll probably remember this, when they said, all right, this version does not weigh as much on medical collections, which I think should be implemented. Yeah. That is what I would love to see for us as a society. But you have to understand that the whole mortgage industry, which would cost billions of dollars to implement this other version, they're not doing it. Right? So you go to Discover, and Discover says, here's your FICO. It is a FICO, but it's not the same version that a home lender is using for sure. And so when you use an 8, it might focus more on how you pay your credit cards, or a 9 might focus more on how you pay your cars. Versions 2, 4, and 5 that you use is much more stringent, like nitpick. Well, of course, it's for the biggest purchase of what your life, right? Your home. Right. They're going to nitpick you. So that's another thing about FICO can be confusing as well.
Yeah, no, that's good. I'm glad you clarified that because everyone operates off of that Vantage because that's what the consumer sees, and then they get confused and frustrated when it doesn't match up to what we pull, and they really don't understand that version of FICO and that difference between Vantage and FICO, and what I also tell them as well is that each industry goes to those three credit.
Oh, you froze up. Well, Steve, I think you're frozen on your end. All right. Well, I'm going to talk. Okay, there you are. Are you
Okay,
back?
sorry. Yeah, I'm back. Yep. So what I was saying is that each of those industries goes to those three credit bureaus and says, here's the factors I want to weigh my risk to loan money to these people. And they're all different. They're going to be different because the car dealer and the insurance company are not concerned about the same things that a nitpicking lender would be for a $200,000 house,
Mm-hmm. Hey, can I bring up something just that you just mentioned?
Yes.
So you just mentioned the word insurance. So a lot of times people don't understand. You think you want to go get your credit fixed because you want to get a home loan. Fantastic. I want you to do the same. But most people don't understand that it affects your insurance rates. So if you improve your credit scores, you need to go get your auto insurance requoted and go to have that checked out. Go to your local person, or we've got recommendations, Steve. I'm sure you have people that you can refer them to.
Yes.
That's a big difference. But your cell phone. When you go get your cell phone, it's going to be based on your credit scores. 60% of employers look at your credit. Not just Facebook, they also look at your credit. But another factor that a lot of people don't know is that if you were trying to get a rank increase in the military, they're looking at your credit. And if somebody has better credit than you, they will win over you most of the time. The other thing, as far as military is concerned, security clearance. Yeah. So that they're going to look at that before you can get security clearance. I've had many military people come to me and say, I need help. I applied for this job and I can't go get it because I don't have security clearance.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, while Steve's away, I'm going to talk about one other thing, just because things keep popping in my head. Like I said, I can talk about credit forever. Another thing I want to chat with you about is Experian Boost. How many people do you have that talk to you about that?
Ooh, a few.
Yeah.
Not many. Yeah. Not many. A few.
That's good.
Not enough.
Well, I'm not a big fan of it. Okay. And I'll explain why.
Yeah.
One is, to my understanding, it does not factor into versions 2, 4, and 5.
Okay.
So it does help, if you will, on an auto loan or credit card. So it can help in that manner, which can help you get credit established, which could help 2, 4, and 5. But when you sign up for Experian Boost, you are literally giving them your bank username and password.
Yes.
You're not giving them a statement. You're saying, type in my username and password, and that you have to keep that open and active because they check it weekly.
Yep.
And guess what, friends? They're selling your information.
Big time, yeah.
So be very weary of signing up for Experian Boost to only help one credit bureau. And you know what? Another thing is that if you have a really strong, thick, healthy credit profile, it really probably won't help at all. If for a really thin, weak one, it might help a little bit.
Right. Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. People don't know that. They don't understand it. Paige, what about the people who do the utilities to help post up on their credit? Is that okay? Is that something that would work? Because I see a lot of that on credit reports.
Well, a lot of the utilities are from the Experian Boost.
Oh, that's where it's coming from. Okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Okay.
Now, there is another thing. They just came out with FICO 10, version 10 and 10T. So the 10T, they're actually in talks right now, trying to vote on that. If they're going to, again, they want the mortgage industry to change. But the 10T is trended information. So just kind of keep your ear on that. So basically what this 10T version does is they take the last 24 months of the trended data. So let's say you had a late payment this month, and that's going to plummet your score, but then they're going to look at the last 24 months and say, oh, well, this has been really good, so we're going to take the whole 24 months. Well, the flip side is that you've been good for 7 months or 6 months, but the year and a half before that, it was horrible.
Right.
So then are you going to be punished? So it's going to be interesting. Nobody's saying that's going to go through, that they're just talking about the possibility of that. So we'll see.
Yeah, I've seen that too, for sure. So we'll see if that happens, because that'll boost up some scores. That'll artificially boost up some scores.
Overall, like I said, it can actually hurt some people too. If you've only been good for the last few months, but the last year and a half prior, you had a bump in the road, right? I mean, going back to what I said, if you had bad life happen to you, you could be punished because of that trended data. So it could go either way.
Yeah, absolutely. Good stuff. That's good. Well, great information, Paige. I know that you're limited on your time, as am I right now, but we can never spend enough time. Your follow-up is phenomenal. So I definitely want to get you on Follow-Up Friday, because your follow-up is phenomenal. And that's why you guys are extremely successful. And so I think you can certainly add some value from a business standpoint too. So we'd love to have you join us on any Friday morning at 9:15.
Steve, anytime you need me, I'm there.
I appreciate you, my dear. I appreciate you. So tell us, just give us the last couple minutes on ReScore, where we can find you, all that good jazz. I'm going to put up your Facebook. Hold on. I'm going to put your Facebook page up, but tell us where we can find you, all that good stuff, so that people can reach out and experience the greatness that is ReScore and Paige White.
Oh, you're so sweet. So thank you very much. I cannot thank you enough for your kind words, but we love to help anybody that is credit challenged, but credit challenged in some people's mind might be different than others. You think I've got a 400, nobody can help me. I've already told you I was a client. I was at a 480. We can help you. But I might have somebody that's a 670 with one medical collection. Well, we can get you to 700. So there's different levels of who we can help. If you need, the great part about ReScore, Steve, is that we are a credit repair company, but we also have a lot of other resources. Student loan consolidation, student loan rehab. We've got a great partner that does business credit. So if you need business credit education and information on how to do that, budgeting coach, we have work with a fantastic divorce coach that can help people. So there are so many different things that we offer. So best way, you can check out our website, like Steve has there, at rescoreyourlife.com. Our Facebook page is ReScore Your Life. He's got my cell phone and my work number down there. You're always welcome to reach out. Our main line is the 816-683-2900. If you would like somebody to reach out to you to talk to one of our amazing credit coaches, it's going to be info@rescoreyourlife.com. And we have some fantastic credit coaches. Also, for any of the Latino community out there, we do have a Spanish-speaking credit coach. So if you have somebody that their English maybe is not quite as sharp, we can help you with that. Our website is in Spanish. Our CRM is in Spanish. So anybody we can help, even if you just need some education, you want to learn how to build a healthy credit profile, we're here for you. There's nobody that we're not here and available to talk to. So thank you for that opportunity, Steve.
Oh, you're so welcome, Paige. You're so welcome. I would be remiss if I didn't give you the opportunity to say those things, because there's other people out there that can benefit from the services you offer, in addition to just being a pretty cool person. So, and having a good heart. Yes. So, Paige, listen, I'm going to let you go, because I want you to come back on Follow-Up Friday. And if I don't respect your time, you might not do it.
You're silly. I'd help you out. And I honestly, I would do almost anything for you. You know that. And I still need to get with you on the crypto.
Yes, absolutely. We can definitely do it. It's a good time to buy because the prices are down. So it's a good time to buy now. So let's definitely do it. And let's get you in there so you can get yourself to a level of financial freedom beyond the great credit stuff that you're doing too.
That's right. Absolutely.
And this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor.
God, I don't know how many times you have to say that on your thing over and over again.
All right. Well, it's good to see you. Thanks for joining. This was good information. hopefully everyone will reach out if they need your help and services, because we can all benefit from it. But we'll share the video. We'll push it a couple times, and hopefully people will reach out, because they don't know what they're missing. If they're dealing with others, there's dealing with the rest, and then there's dealing with the best. And
I love it.
Is the best.
I appreciate you. Oh, I forgot to mention that we have a YouTube page as well, so check that out.
What's your YouTube?
It's just ReScore Your Life. It actually has a video of the ReScore process and some educational videos there as well. So just you ReScore Your Life YouTube page.
I think you got Instagram too, it looks like, right?
Yes, we're Insta, Facebook, YouTube. I think we have a Twitter as well, even though we're not super active in that. We probably need to be, but.
Okay, cool. So I've got in the comments, I've got your YouTube channel link. So I just dropped it in the comments as well.
Well, you're amazing.
Patty says, thank you, Paige.
You're welcome, Patty.
Yep. And then, so in the comments, I've dropped your YouTube channel as well to ReScore Your Life too. So people can find you and use your services, because you're the best. There's dealing with the rest, and then there's dealing with the best. Paige White at ReScore. All right, cool. I love you, my dear. I'll see you soon. And
thank you, my friend.
Okay, appreciate you.
Lunch soon. Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye.